Graduates, you can sit down. Hello, family, friends, staff, Dean Sisler, and the Western Michigan University Doctor of Physical Therapy class of 2022. I am Amy Heath, the extraordinarily proud program director here at Western Michigan University, and also the Master of Ceremonies for today. Students, you'll have to forgive me. You may have already heard this short anecdote from me, but I'd like to create some context for our family and friends, so bear with me. When I was a DPT student, on my first day of orientation, I had a faculty member walk into the room and ask us to write down, what does it take to be a great physical therapist? As diligent first-year students, we all started scribbling away words like compassion and empathy and collegiality and persistence, hoping to win our new faculty members' favor with all of our inspired sentiments. After a moment, the faculty member went up to the chalkboard. Yes, we used chalkboards back then. And microfiche. Maybe you know what that is, maybe you don't. Gave a little knowing smirk and pulled up the screen, and there, written in white, bold chalk, was flexibility and a sense of humor. Typically, after I share this story, I tell the students, no truer words have ever been spoken. Today, I'm going to follow up and say, literally, no truer words have ever been spoken. Students, you have endured so much during your time here as DPT students. And despite the challenges, you have demonstrated continual flexibility and a still intact sense of humor. Our faculty appreciate you for so many reasons. One of the many is for the grace with which you've handled the upheaval of starting a Doctor of Physical Therapy program during an unprecedented global pandemic. You are truly a one-of-a-kind group who's literally had a one-of-a-kind educational experience. I'm grateful to usher you into our profession today, and I wish for you that you have to exercise much less flexibility through the duration of your career. And I also wish for you a lifetime of laughs to carry you through. Welcome all to our ceremony today. We can't wait to celebrate these fantastic individuals. Next, we'll hear from our Dean of the College of Health and Human Services, Dr. Ron Sisler.
Well, good afternoon. I'm so privileged and honored to be part of this ceremony and to give a welcome to friends, family, loved ones, significant others. And if there's a couple of children back there that are crying, that's perfectly fine with us. I am very privileged and honored to be the Dean of the College of Health and Human Services at Western Michigan University, which houses the Department of Physical Therapy. We have embarked on a 7-8-year journey now to get to this point. This is our second cohort of amazing Doctor of Physical Therapy students. We've been through a lot. We put some resources into our vision for a wonderful department, tremendous faculty, amazing staff, and truly outstanding students in our second cohort. To you who are graduating, this is an amazing profession. And this is what I like to call, with a lot of our College of Health and Human Services professions, that they're high in demand, high in meaning, high in satisfaction, and unsurpassed in impact. And your journey as APT will be impacting individuals in our community like no other. And we really appreciate your dedication to your studies and to where you are today. Because of COVID, I wasn't able to meet you at the beginning of your journey. I think I told some of you this the other day. We were online. I might have actually joined Dr. Fruth online to welcome you, but I didn't serve as a patient when you did some of your exams in your first semester. But I was able to see your amazing work on Wednesday of this week in showing your your work that you've done in research, and the way, in almost every case, you all answered pretty succinctly how you would take that information that you gleaned in your research and apply it to your scope of practice moving forward. And I was really impressed by that. I don't know if you also caught on that I was doing a sort of a very informal survey with you. And what was that? Does anybody remember? Really asking you about your experiences in our PT program. To a person, you were so complimentary, appreciative, and lauded the work of the faculty in supporting you and the staff in supporting you in your journey. And that was very important for me to hear. I'm sure it's important for the parents to hear and loved ones to hear that. And we hope that it was what you needed to get through a very difficult time. It was, correct? Yeah, thank you. To the faculty and staff who have educated you, thank you so very much. You have a great group here, tight group, and you do a tremendous job in providing the knowledge needed, the hands-on practice needed through very difficult situations. And the students really did say and comment about your unwavering passion and your support and guidance under a very rigorous program, a 30-month program, by the way. So I want to also thank Dr. Fruth, who was our founding chair of the Department of Physical Therapy, for your leadership, including when the students entered the program, and Dr. Heath, who is taking on the physical therapy director position moving forward. So thank you again for coming. Welcome, and I'm looking forward to this celebration. Amy?
Thank you, Dean Sisler. Each year, the graduates vote for a faculty speaker. This year, they selected Dr. Don Hoover. Dr. Hoover is now going to give his address.
Thank you, Dean Sisler. Thank you, Dr. Heath. Thank you, fellow faculty and staff. Thank you, family and friends. I thank you for assembling here today to celebrate the WMU DPT class of 2022. And most importantly, thank you, members of the DPT class, for asking me to share a few thoughts today as we collectively honor your achievement. So towards this aim, I would like to briefly go through some take-home messages for the road. I've selected a few thoughts on what I think are particularly appropriate as we simultaneously reflect on your accomplishments over the last 3 years, as well as anticipate the challenges you'll face in the years to come. Take-home message number 1. I sing the body electric. Let us return to a widely acknowledged classic of American literature, one we somehow stumbled onto in a pathophysiology course during your first year within this DPT program. I believe either Will or Fam brought it up in class that fateful day, but I acknowledge that your own recollections on this may vary. Nonetheless, here we go. The expression of the face balks account, but the expression of a well-made man appears not only in his face, it is in his limbs and joints also. It is curiously in the joints of his hips and wrists. It is in his walk, the carriage of his neck, the flex of his waist and knees. Dress does not hide him. The sprawl and fullness of babes, the bosoms and heads of women, the folds of their dress, their style as we pass in the street, the contour of their shape downwards, the swimmer naked in the swimming bath, seen as he swims through the transparent green shine, or lies with his face up and rolls silently to and fro in the heave of the water, the bending forward and backward of rowers and rowboats, the horseman in his saddle, girls, mothers, housekeepers, in all their performances. As Walt Whitman helped us to see within I Sing the Body Electric, the human body is nothing less than a miracle. I will say that again. The human body is nothing less than a miracle. It is wonderful beyond description. It gives people their own distinct identity, and it connects them to every other person alive. We as physical therapists will return to an appreciation of this in a moment. Take-home message number 2. I am in awe of you. Law school is hard. Medical school is hard. Earning a PhD is hard. Veterinary medicine school is hard. DPT school is hard. Only those who've gone through this process truly understand it, how it's changed them, how it's facilitated the growth we all need to serve society in our respective professional capacities. As I reflect upon this, it has helped me develop an appreciation of this larger process in which each of us is transformed from talented young adults possessing much potential to healthcare professionals capable of making decisions in the best interest of each individual we serve in our respective roles. That's not easy. Over the years, I've learned that clearly less than 1% of the world at large holds doctoral degrees, and we are within that select group. Given the changes in medical science over the past 2,000 years, we can confidently say that you know more now about the miracle of the human body and how it works than did the legendary physicians of history, Galen or Hippocrates, or the poet Walt Whitman. And I say, wow. I mean, I've also reflected quite a bit the past 3 years on how the class of 2022 went through this process against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic. This worldwide stressor certainly was traumatic for each of us. We witnessed family and friends lose jobs, homes, relationships, and even their lives as a result of the pandemic. Yet each of you stayed the course. I'm so proud of you. I love learning about history. And personally, I've seen your accomplishment of staying the course during the pandemic on par with the stories we've all heard about family members who emigrated to this country following a war, or who kept the family farm solvent during the Great Depression, or who rushed to enlist in the armed forces following the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Or the aforementioned Walt Whitman, who served as a nurse during the Civil War. I'm in awe of you and what you've accomplished. Together we look ahead to what you will accomplish from this point forward. Take-home message number 3, Luke chapter 12, verse 48. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more. Many passages from the Bible, Quran, or Torah certainly may be helpful in placing your accomplishments and aspirations into a larger, more meaningful context. I'm particularly fond of the inherent message in this verse from Luke, as I think it holds particular meaning on a number of levels to DPT students soon to graduate from our program. And so let's take a moment to reflect on some of these points that this brings to my mind. The foremost and perhaps most obvious investment made in the class of 2022 has come from your families. Many of you are the first members of your family to go to college or to earn a graduate degree. And most of you will go to sleep on Saturday as the first person in family history to have earned the title of doctor. Take pride in this. Take pride in this, but do so with a sense of humility, as many have likely sacrificed and perhaps struggled at times to set the stage for your successes. I remind you to take a moment this week, when the moment is right, to express your gratitude to these folks in each of your lives. Your home communities have also made considerable investment in your successes. One of the most important lessons I've learned over 30 years of university teaching and clinical practice is that each of you truly represent the best and the brightest our society produces. You represent the best from Sault Ste. Marie, from Augusta, from Lansing, from Carson City, and from deep in the heart of Texas. The great African-American sociologist W.E.B. Du Bois describes such individuals as the best and the brightest members of society, as the talented 10th. He wrote extensively on the obligation of the most fortunate to give back to the communities that produced us. I 100% believe that Dr. Du Bois is correct. So again, please leave us this week not filled with pride at this realization, but with a sense of responsibility born out of our and your good fortune. In the same sense, our faculty has invested quite a bit of energy into you too. Our efforts have admittedly been imperfect and uneven at times, but each time we look at you, we not only see many young, energetic individuals that we've enjoyed working with, we also see the future of our profession. Your lesser experience in the profession increases the odds that you're less influenced by past practice patterns than we are. Thus, you're likely to try new approaches and to offer fresh perspectives. We welcome this. We now consider you full-fledged colleagues, and we're counting on you to help strengthen our profession. In sum, so many have a vested interest in you. Never lose sight of that. I sing the body electric. The arms of those I love engirth me, and I engirth them. They will not let me off till I go with them, respond to them, and discorrupt them, and change them full with the charge of the soul. In closing, each of you will receive your diploma as a doctor of physical therapy in less than 24 hours. You will soon thereafter embark on your respective careers, helping people in the care and feeding of this miracle that is the human form. As physical therapists, it is important that we never lose sight of this miracle. Thanks for letting our faculty play a small role in this phase of each of your lives. Please keep us in your thoughts and prayers as you move forward. You'll be in ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hoover. We're now going to acknowledge several awards and recognitions. Multiple faculty are going to come up to the podium to announce these recognitions. First, we're going to hear from Dr. Jackson. While she makes her way to the podium, I'll tell you that in the final term, the faculty vote on several awards for the graduating student. Dr. Jackson will announce 2 of these awards, followed by Dr. Webb. Recipients, please come forward to accept this award, and please pause for a photo op once you get it. All right?
Thank you, Dr. Heath. I'm going to first do the Outstanding Applied Discovery Award. The Outstanding Applied Discovery Award recognizes the work conducted by a group of students under the advisement of a faculty member to create, conduct, and complete a research project while enrolled in the program. The group that wins this award is selected via input from external reviewers during the students' final research presentations which took place on Wednesday, which many of you attended. I am pleased to announce that Jeremy Cross, Olivia Giammalva, Denzel Henderson, and Jessica Wicker have earned this honor. And this was for their study, The Effects of Bilateral Lower Extremity Blood Flow Restriction Training Upon Gross Motor Performance, Select Metabolic Markers, and Psychological Metrics During Maximal Cycling. That's a mouthful. Their faculty advisor was Dr. Don Hoover, and I would like to just acknowledge their additional contributors, Stephen Hoover, T. Scott Lyons, Andrew Zope, and Zalika Vedic. Thank you. Congratulations. The next is the Contributor Award. The recipient of this award is chosen by the faculty and recognizes a student who consistently and intently contributes to a positive class atmosphere, who actively supports and engages fellow classmates, and who has to also contribute to professional endeavors outside of the classroom. I'm delighted to introduce to you Colleen Whitman as this year's Contributor Award recipient. And now I would like to welcome Dr. Darren Webb, Director of Clinical Education, to present our Clinical Education Awards.
First, as the Director of Clinical Education, I want to thank our clinical partners for unwavering support that they've shown us over the past couple years. I also want to thank the students for all their patience in all the clinical placements and changes of clinical placements during that time. Clinical education is a vital component of the WMU DPT curriculum, comprising nearly 25% of the overall program length and 15% of the credit hours. Students participate in 3 10 to 12-week clinical education experiences, providing students with the opportunity to apply, develop, and integrate their clinical competencies. The Clinical Achievement Award is selected by review of each of the students' clinical performance instruments, or the CPIs as the students know it, completed by their clinical instructors across their 3 clinical experiences, assessing 18 specific professional and clinical practice criteria. In reality, I stuffed my pocket with Kleenexes just in case I needed them. So, in reality, each of the 30 students of this cohort throughout their collective 90 clinical experiences deserve noteworthy praise for their clinical performance in one way or another. These students rose to meet the challenges that the faculty, our clinical partners, and yes, the challenges of COVID put before them. And some overachieved, growing and maturing as a professional and exceeding expectations to a degree we could not have imagined. As faculty, we are so proud of their clinical accomplishments. While we do not have plaques for each of them, they all deserve the accolades. Therefore, we settled with 3. Very painstakingly so, through about a 3-hour meeting with Dr. Jackson and myself, and approved by the faculty. But I'm honored to introduce our 3 students whose clinical performance exemplified all of these achievements. The recipients of the 2022 Clinical Achievement Award are Aaron Ernst, Jeremy Cross, and Carl Beller. Please join me in congratulating all 3 of these. I do hope that family members have seen the growth in your students. It's just amazing on our end to see. Next, I'll ask Dr. Weir to acknowledge students who received awards at our state Michigan PTA conference. But before we acknowledge the students, we must first acknowledge Dr. Weir for his award at the Michigan APTA conference in 2022, the 2022 President's Award.
Thank you, Dr. Webb. I'd also like to just say that we're also proud of this class and their perseverance. And I'm sure many of you in the room were subjects for the palpation class that we had online, so I just wanted to also say that. The American Physical Therapy Association is our national professional organization that represents 100,000 physical therapists, physical therapist assistants, and students of physical therapy. We have a state chapter with many of our students serving on committees, and there's also a fall conference with awards that are given out. And we had 2 students that won awards that we would like to acknowledge. So students, please stand as we acknowledge your award. The Outstanding Student Award is given to 1 student in each of the 7 DPT programs in Michigan, each of which are nominated by their faculty. This year's WMU award was Will Dumichel, so please stand, Will. The Team Rehab Scholarship is awarded to PT students in their final year of school who already show great promise as practicing clinicians. This year's WMU Award recipient was Denzel Henderson. And finally, we'll bring Dr. Carrie Barrett to the podium to acknowledge a number of other noteworthy accomplishments of the students in the DPT class of 2022.
Good afternoon, everybody. Students, please stand. When you are acknowledged, we would like to recognize those students who conducted research that has been presented at a national conference. Elizabeth Huff Willis. Elizabeth worked with Dr. Daryl Lawson and colleagues for the use of transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation along with functional tasks for immediate pain relief in individuals with knee osteoarthritis. This was presented at the 2021 APTA Combined Sections meeting. Of note, Elizabeth also earned a Western Michigan internal travel grant to be able to attend this in San Antonio, Texas. Great job, Elizabeth. Josh Sparks and Hannah Stefanik worked with Dr. Daryl Lawson for transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation on acute management of individuals with exercise-induced muscle fatigue. This was presented at the 2021 International Association for the Study of Pain. Great job, Josh and Hannah. Kelsey Dennis, Alexi Flaminio, Katie Miller. These students worked with Drs. Yvonne Jackson and Dr. Rodney Weir for scoping review of effectiveness of mobility task training for caregivers of children, presented at the 2022 American Congress of Rehabilitation Medicine. Great job, Katie, Alexi, and Kelsey. We also want to acknowledge graduates who are applying for residency programs in order to enhance clinical decision-making and skills. Will Dumichel, please stand. We want to acknowledge you for applying We want to acknowledge you for applying to the sports residency at Parkview Athletic Rehab. Great job. We'd like to recognize 2 students for their considerable efforts in helping the faculty and administrative staff in countless ways over the past 2 years. These students have been asked to do all kinds of crazy asks along their journey here. Our graduate assistants, Kelsey Antonson and Denzel Henderson. Of note, these 2 students not only handled our requests with calm, professional, and very sweet mannerisms, they are by far some of the nicest human beings I know. So thank you guys so much. And finally, our student cohort ambassadors, who are elected by fellow classmates to serve as class representatives and liaisons to the faculty throughout the duration of the program. These students, those of you who have ever been in middle management, that's kind of what these students had to go through. They were the voice for their classmates, they were the voice for faculty, program directors, staff, and they did a fantastic job with their communication, organization, and leadership. These students that were in this role were Sean Clark, Kelsey Dennis, Josh Sparks, and Jessica Wicker.
So many recognitions. Congratulations to everyone in the class of 2022. You've done and will continue to do amazing things that make us all proud. At this point, I'd like to get to the good stuff. Okay? We're going to present the graduates who will be receiving their doctoral hood and pin today. The doctoral hooding ceremony dates back to the 12th century. It's been going on a long time. It's a special recognition of having completed your degree and is an introduction into your professional career. Students, I'll ask that you stand, and as Dean Sisler calls your name, please come across the stage to accept your hood. As you leave the stage, please stop in front of the poinsettia to see Dr. Fruth for your pin. Okay?
Noah Ackerman. We got this. Erin Nicole Arts. Janet Allen. Kelsey Antonson. Carl Billert. Sean Clark. Abigail Colin. Jeremy Cross. Kelsey Marie Dennis. Will Dumichel. She's as tall as you. Alexi Flaminio. Megan Flynn. Angelo Fontanopoulos. Samantha Ashley Garst. Olivia Jo Giamalva. Denzel Dominic Henderson. Elizabeth Huff Willis. Kelsey Joe Justin. Ian Kelly. Catherine Michelle Miller. Jayla Elaine Moore. April Pelfrey. Adeline Jane Rhodes. Joshua Sparks. Hannah Jane Stefanik. Pham Tran. Trevor Vandelon. Jessica Wicker. Colleen Renee Whitman. And finally, Scott Zahosky.
Students, how about another round of applause before we get started? It's a wonderful day, and you have so much to be proud of. Stay standing, all right? And I'm going to ask you to pick up your programs. You all have them. You're following directions wonderfully. And we have an oath that we're going to ask you to recite as you enter into your professional status. You ready? Okay. In the presence of my classmates, family, friends, and faculty. And in the view of the honored profession I am entering. I solemnly and willingly pledge that I will respect the rights and dignity of all individuals who seek my services or with whom I work. That I will act in a compassionate and trustworthy manner in all aspects of my services. That I will exercise sound professional judgment while abiding by all legal and ethical requirements. That I will demonstrate integrity during interactions with colleagues, other healthcare providers, students, faculty, researchers, the public, and payers for the enhancement of patient care and the advancement of the profession. That I will enhance my practice through lifelong acquisition and application of knowledge, skills, and professional behavior. And that I'll participate in efforts to meet physical therapy and healthcare needs of local, national, and global communities. Thus, with this oath, I accept the duties and responsibilities that embody the physical therapy profession. Congratulations, colleagues. And for our closing remarks, the person responsible for bringing us all together, Dr. Stacy Fruth.
Janet? She's sending me her vibes so I don't cry. And then I'm gonna ask Darren to be on the ready to hand me those tissues. But I'm gonna get in my zone, and we're all gonna hope that works. So of all the things that I'd love to say to this stellar group of doctors of physical therapy, and there's a lot I would love to say, but my new boss only gave me 5 minutes. I think the most important thing that I want to convey is thank you. For all the family and friends of our graduates, here's why that thank you is so important, at least to me. Every one of these individuals took a huge chance on us, accepting our offer of admission when we weren't yet accredited. Then they had to find massive amounts of faith that we could pull it all off when all things COVID struck. And this group had to start a very hands-on program virtually. Then they had to keep the faith that the faculty would find a way to instill all of the necessary and vital content in a completely different way than any of us really wanted to teach it. And we never, ever hope to teach it that way again. They had to trust that we could keep enough clinical partners on board to have enough clinical rotation sites that no one's path would be delayed. Can I have a shout out to our Clin Ed team? Amazing stuff. And along the way, they had to adapt to the multitude of changing plans, learning through masks and face shields, being restricted to working in pairs and pods instead of their full cadre of classmates. Endless hours on Zoom, and I mean endless. That dreaded and awful thing called boot camp. That's Plan E.75 to your faculty, who have an equally awful visceral reaction to that term. The resilience, perseverance, flexibility, and belief you showed in us was commendable. So taking the liberty to speak for the faculty group that I led through most of this journey with us, we say thank you. One of the greatest joys of my academic career is the vast network of former DPT students that I remain connected with. I will never be able to encapsulate and verbalize my version of your journey with us, but I've spent many hours lamenting about all the experiences and opportunities to genuinely connect that weren't afforded with this group because of how we had to maneuver around COVID. That's why those hugs were extra long, because I didn't get the chance to do that through any of your first year at all, so that's why. It became even more clear to me last night during your happy hour gathering that faculty were invited to join. I could have stayed there for hours just hearing about the you I never got to know. But since there's nothing we can do to change our past, we can just focus on our future. So I've been wanting to find a way for this program to stay connected with our graduates, and your cohort inspired me to create a private Facebook group just for alumni and DPT faculty. And you are the first to be invited to join it. I actually plead with you to join it. Many of your faculty deeply, and I mean deeply, value their ongoing connections to those we once called students and we now proudly call colleagues. We want to know about the cool job you just landed, or if your clinic has an opening that might be attractive to our upcoming grads. Our alumni can network with those who have come before them and with those who are newly freshly minted PTs. And we want to collectively communicate with you about the cool stuff happening back home. We can let you know that we'd love your help with interviews, or maybe you've acquired an advanced clinical skill and we want to bring you back to share that with our students. Or maybe we have a student who needs a clinical placement in your neck of the woods. Maybe an area of expertise you've acquired would make you an amazing advisor for our newly created independent study option. And I'm always looking for excellent PTs to refer patients to. I've already referred patients to 3 of our 2021 grads, and I look forward to doing the same with all of you. But that's really tough to do when we don't have an easy way to connect. But now, hopefully, we do. So my allotted 5 minutes to offer closing remarks is nearly up, so I'll end with this. 5 minutes isn't much time, but I'll ask you to go back to that foundation of what makes this profession so special. 5 minutes is enough to allow a patient to feel heard and validated, maybe for the first time. 5 minutes is enough to show that the most important person in the room is that patient sitting in front of you. 5 minutes is enough to give a patient genuine hope. 5 minutes is enough to make a profound difference in a patient's life. Think of all the 5-minute opportunities you'll have along your brand new career path. Go do those things. Make us proud.
And that, my friends, concludes our ceremony. Thank you to everyone for coming to celebrate this accomplishment. Please join us downstairs on the first floor of the atrium for a reception. The reception in this ceremony was organized by our incredible administrative staff. I'd love to give them a quick round of applause. I'm going to ask that you ask for the faculty and the students, the faculty and the graduates to leave first, and then I'll ask you guys to head out after that. So graduates, the first row, you guys can head out. Second row. Third row. Faculty, please follow them. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We'll see you downstairs.